Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Here we go. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Or as I say, here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. Here we go. Yes. All right, slowly coming in. And hello, everybody. Alex Smith, 4 touchdown. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And hello, Miss Christensen. Karen Christensen says she did not expect that win. For those viewers who cannot see my chat, which is blowing up, welcome to Zennie62 Live. The New England Patriots suffered a loss. I predicted, Miss Christensen and others, I predicted that the Kansas City Chiefs would beat the New England Patriots 30-24. I did not expect this margin of victory. Wow. Barry Lee says he's so glad they lost. Hey, John Marks, how are you? Joseph Bensman says, hello, Zinni, and Holy Toledo. Yeah, exactly. Holy Toledo. The pride of Toledo, Mr. This Bensman says, Kareem Hunt gets 40 fantasy points tonight in his first game. That's got to be a record, too, for a fantasy player, right? As GameTub TV points out, Alex Smith, 4 touchdown passes. Kareem Hunt, wow. And this is something else. This is a win for the ages. And prayers for Eric Berry, number 29. He's hurt with an Achilles heel. Poor man has endured a lot in his very young life, and really has. So we have, let's see here, a very interesting and fascinating discussion as I go on to put out that this live stream is on. I started right after the game, well, pretty much after the game, because frankly speaking, with the Patriots, you just never know. And I remember the awesome contest. I believe it was 2003 Monday Night Football. 2002 Monday Night Football. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, newly coached by John Gruden, versus the Tony Dungy coached Indianapolis Colts. And the Colts were down by a margin similar to this one. However, Peyton Manning, with just 4 minutes and 14 seconds left, threw 3 touchdown passes to win. It was shocking. It's a game that you have to go on YouTube, find, and watch more than once. I believe that can happen again, and of all the organizations that may have it in them, why not the world champion New England Patriots at home? Didn't happen. It did not happen. As Go CSUR Ram says, yes, I'm so happy the Patriots lost. Barry Lee says, does anyone else expect to hear that? I don't know what he's talking about. Patriots are 8-8 this year. And let's see here. Hunt got you the points. In the fall of the dynasty, Joseph Jones says, didn't know who to cheer for. Wife's a Chiefs fan, but hate the Patriots even more. Bousy Ruler says, hate Raiders. Haha, Raiders have no chance. Kansas City has a front seven unlike Raiders. I have to agree, as it looks, okay? As it looks. Can Christian says, Patriots have a huge win streak at home against AFC teams. This was the most points and yards given up by a Patriots team to start the season, ever. The Kansas City Chiefs racked up 524 yards of total offense. Kareem Hunt was 243 yards total offense and 3 touchdowns himself. Alex Smith, 4 touchdowns, 368 yards passing. Woo! I mean, something else. So, absolutely something else. And Joseph Binsman says, I had Brady and Kelsey for my fantasy team tonight. Both were underwhelming. And You got Kareem as well, too? Awesome. So, let's see here. Awesome. I am going to make a few adjustments here as I have people come in. And, let's see here. Go there. And there. Save changes there. And then, let's see. KC Chiefs sock New England Patriots. Make sure I properly tag this and save it. Then go back to the watch page. And you're going to bench Kareem Hunt. Aren't you glad you didn't? Aren't you glad you didn't? Now, the Madden curse. There's a Madden curse. Let's see here. But your gut told John Marks was going to bench Kareem Hunt, but his gut told him not to. Hey, isn't intuition a powerful thing? Isn't just gut feeling something to go on all the time? And the Madden curse, the Madden curse is a heck of a thing, but you know what? I think it's too early. Hey, Rick Rice, how are you? I believe it's too early to write off the Patriots, but there definitely has to be concern about how the Patriots created this situation for themselves. Now, what I mean by that is this. The Patriots went into the same essential game plan that got them into trouble for Super Bowl 51. And that was they tried to throw deep a lot. They tried to throw mid-range a lot. They didn't go to their short game. That's exactly the same case here. When they wanted to control the ball, rather than using their vaunted passing game from 2007 in terms of scheme design, right? They went to the run. Well, here's Tom Brady. Let me hear what Tom Brady has to say. Hold on a second here.
Make a lot of plays tonight, actually. So we just have to be a lot better in a lot of areas.
Tom Brady was 16 of 36, 267 yards. Hold on a second. He was sacked 3 times. Hold on a second.
The last few years without Julian, what does the offense just have to do to play better without him on the field?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely have to play better. It's a long year, so we've got 15 games.
Tom Brady looks like he was hit by a ton of bricks, or the Kansas City defense, or linebackers like Justin Houston. Wow. AR-10 says the Patriots lose to the Saints next week. I'm going to laugh my blank off. Mr. Poog says this will make us look unstoppable when we kick your tails in week 2. Fly, Eagles, fly. I love it. Steve Collins says it's only one game and it's the Pats. Ooh, boy, oh boy, oh boy. The trash talking ensues. This is quite interesting, to say the least. Just putting this out there, folks. I mean, in terms of social media, and then going to make absolutely certain hashtag KCVizNE, hashtag NFL, there. And then I'll go back to Brady's comments.
Home field, and it's a terrible feeling.
He says it's a terrible feeling.
There's only people that can do something about it in that locker room. And we got to dig a lot deeper than we did tonight.
He says there's a lot of people that can do something about it in that locker room, and we could dig a lot deeper tonight. He had no touchdowns, no interceptions. His passer rating was 70 versus 148.6 for Alex Smith. And I'll go to NFL.com and read off the rest of the stats. And Mr. Pogue says that Alex Smith will be running for his life next week against the Eagles. Barry Lee asks Zenny, what time does the meeting start on the 15th? That's 8:30 in the morning, talking about the Oakland Coliseum Joint Powers Authority meeting. And Karen Christian says they're pretty good at coming back and winning in the fourth quarter. Tonight was not their night. No, the Chiefs were faster on defense. But to me, the most amazing adjustment for the Chiefs was getting away from from zone coverage and going to man for man, because they were getting killed in the first half of the game trying to play zone, the Patriots came out with, I thought, a brilliant tight end wheel route off the motion across to the tight end number 83 there, except that Tom Brady overthrew him. Uncharacteristic miss for the Super Bowl champion MVP quarterback. However, absent that, the Patriots were giving the Chiefs fits with crossing patterns, with deep wheel routes, and then when they weren't being effective with that, simple hard-nosed off-tackle running. The Patriots are really solid in terms of offensive blocking technique and defensive pass rushing technique, without question. But the Chiefs are just more raw, athletically talented on defense than the Patriots are on offense to match it. The Pats didn't have the offensive team speed to counter the speed on defense. And then not only that, the Patriots did nothing in the way of misdirection. Well, very little in the way they did just some things, but very little in the way of misdirection to keep the defense of the Chiefs honest. That is, stop them from over pursuing to what's called the point of attack. Great game. Great game. And so we got CSU Rand says, Broncos fans are laughing their heads off right now. I love it. Defending Super Bowl champion Pats lose at home. The first game against the Chiefs. That's funny. And did you ever see with Hill's injury? I'll check that. And Rick Rice says to Mr. Mark Show, gentleman, a scholar. Karen Christensen says that Tyreek Hill is very impressive. Yes, he's also injured, and I'll get to that injury as well. And Rick Rice is saying to Go CSU Rams, one of our viewers, you have to stop changing your name so much. I know, it's kind of like, who are you this week? So, Rick Rice says Broncos and Chiefs are clearly the best team in the... Broncos and Raiders fan says Rick Rice should have been rooting for the Pats. Israel Mendoza says Chiefs are clearly the best team in the AFC West. Well, right now. Absolutely. Absolutely. So let me see. What we got here? Let's go over to... I just want to edit the video one quick way here. And go down to... Let's see here. Change this advanced settings to sports rather than people in blogs. There's sports. Change that. There we go. Back to basic info. And then go back to the watch page. Alright, so I've done that. And then I'll put this out on the G+, Google+. And there's Google+, and I'll post that. Boom. Okay. So there we go. Now, the Chiefs not only made a statement, and Barry Lee says, yeah, the Chiefs statement was what the Super Bowl last year. Let me go to NFL.com. It'll be fun to see. First of all, I'm going to go to Twitter. I think watching the tweets is going to be really fun. First of all, worldwide trends. Guess what the number one worldwide trend on Twitter is? It's Alex Smith. That's right. 90,400 plus tweets and counting as I present this. In fact, before I go to the Alex Smith tweets, of all of the worldwide trends on Twitter, Alex Smith is number one. Patriots, hashtag Patriots is number two. Hashtag Chiefs is number three. Tom Brady is number four. Kareem Hunt is number five. Go Pats. Hashtag Go Pats is number six. A Prima Fiesta, which has nothing to do with the game, is number number eight. NFL, ESPN is number 9. And then the bottom, a Japanese, what appears to be a Japanese kanji, is number 10. So again, we've got Alex Smith number 1, Flamingo number 2, which doesn't have anything to do with the game. So basically, if we count this, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the top 10 worldwide trends of this moment concern that game. That's amazing. And it goes to prove the media power of the NFL, even with constant reports of decline in ratings that we've heard, you cannot deny the popularity of the NFL as arguably the most powerful form and most popular form of reality TV there is today. So, with that, let's get to the tweets about Alex Smith. And number one says, Skip Bailey says, I can't remember Alex Smith throwing it any better than he has tonight, especially downfield. I quite agree. And number two is by Shia Serrano. Don't quite know who that is. Anyway, says, I honestly had no idea that Alex Smith was the best football player on the planet. Number three, NFL research. Players with 300-plus yards passing yards, 4-plus passing touchdowns, and 0 interceptions against a Bill Belichick defense. Drew Brees in 2009 in a game that I'll never forget, where the New England Saints tore apart a very rudimentary 3-4 defense that was put up by the Patriots in terms of scheme. It was very simple. I think I mentioned that before on my live stream. And then, of course, Alex Smith tonight. BJ Kessel tonight, basically, he's got a GIF. I'll show you the GIF. This is interesting. This GIF, all right? There's the GIF, okay? That's Alex Smith tonight, basically, harpooning the dragon. How you like that? From Game of Thrones, right? Not bad, okay? Not bad at all. Number 7, Brian Ternacki has this gif of a smile. Alex Smith, 4 touchdown passes, 398 yards. Hashtag KC versus any. Hashtag Chiefs Kingdom. Jordan Bolton, Alex Smith. I'm sorry, the old Alex Smith can't. I'm sorry, this is funny. Alex Smith. I'm sorry, the old Alex can't come on the phone now. Why? Alex Smith, because he's dead. Wow. And another one, Chiefs trade up for Mahomes because Alex Smith could never beat quarterbacks like Brady. So first game since that is exactly what he does. Unreal. And there's some other great tweets on here. This is absolutely hilarious. Getting back to your comments. We've got Joseph Jones says, when a better defense shows up, Smith will go back to dump and run. But you know what? I think that for the most part, the Chiefs did just that. However, they had some extremely creative plays. Arguably, the best offensive game plan in terms of design I've ever seen against the Patriots. And I don't say that just because of the outcome, but because of, well, for example, the fake handoff end around and then shovel pass to Kelsey that was ran 4 times. Or how about the constant use of a trailing back when you hand off to Hunt, and as Hunt was lined up as halfback, but then the fullback would run the trailing route around, thereby producing that kind of confusion out of a pattern not seen since the Dallas Cowboys 1970s with Tony Dorsett and Robert Newhouse. So I'm not kidding. That kind of run action goes back that far. So I enjoyed watching this game, and not just because of the outcome, but because it was like going to the Mayo Clinic in terms of offensive design and innovations that were used. I loved watching it. Joseph Benjamin says, Titans have must defense. Rick Rice says, dude, Titans are no joke. And Go CSU Ram says, who else thinks it's funny that the Pats lost at home? Me. Joseph Jones says, when a better defense, I got that one. Let's see, who did I miss in terms of their comments? Israel says, I'm a Raiders fan, but we have no defense, so no Super Bowl this year, just being real. Israel, the Raiders have not played yet. You have to remember something. Prior to this contest, did you expect the Chiefs to play like this? I predicted the Chiefs would win, but I didn't expect this margin. My margin of victory was a touchdown. Okay? This reality blows that away. Tell me, did you expect this? if you can't say you honestly expected this, then you can't lay the Raiders to a season of knots before the Raiders even take the field. That's not a good idea at all. We may find ourselves surprised given the level of criticism the defense has made, and I might add detailed criticism from areas like this area, for example, that were leveled over the preseason. So just as I say, wait, watch, and see what happens, right? However, and as Israel mentions, says, no, I did not. See? Yeah. And Rick Rice says, I hope so, Zenny. And ML Scott says, John Steve. ML, welcome. How are you, everybody? And not only that, so it's great to have everybody here. Oops. Oh, geez, I keep doing that. And first of all, my apologies there. That, crying out loud, that happens when, because the cord got wrapped around there. But, oh well, it keeps you on your toes in a weight, right? Ouch. As John Mark says, ouch. Hey, you say ouch, and I say, oh my God, my phone, right? Oh, no. I got a new cord here, however, this cord... Yeah, there we go. All right, I got to make sure this cord has enough slack there. And apparently it does, okay? Sorry about that, everybody. Didn't mean... Sorry for the ouchie there. And I thought I got pretty good at catching it, but there's your roller coaster ride for the evening, right? Invest. Now, what phone do I have? I have an iPhone 6S. Now, Paul Ferreira, welcome, says the Raiders will win the AFC West. Go CSU Rams says we have to remember that those who got hurt tonight they're still real people. We may be glad for them to be out, but they are still real people. Excellent point. Joseph Jones says, trying to keep the faith in the defense. Wait until they play. And Alex Perez says, it's a whole new era of football. Welcome to Zennie62. For those who've just joined us, we're talking the outcome of this amazing win between the Kansas City Chiefs, which walked into New England and won 45-27, and Tom Brady was 16 of 36 for 267 yards. No touchdowns, no interceptions. He was sacked 3 times. Fantastic win for the Chiefs. Just fantastic. You know what? The real winner in this may very well have been anyone who bet on it. Let me see what the latest line on this game was. For the NFL, 2017, Kansas City. And I'll actually post that in a second. Picks from 15 hours ago, CBS Sports. Odds from 7 experts. 7 experts with 7 straight, pick from experts with 7 straight Patriots wins. And so you've got the line open up, Patriots giving 7, and that's gone up to 9. Patriots giving 9. So the line on the game, if you took the Chiefs and the points, you came out looking pretty good. Actually, looking really good. If you took the you took the Chiefs and maybe double the points, you came out even better. Even better. Now, John Marks writes, down goes Vegas in more ways than one. Rick Rice says 8.5. I took the Chiefs. Karen Christensen asks, does anyone know if Hightower had a concussion? I saw him go to the blue tent. And let me see here, Karen, Miss Christensen. For those of you watching this and can't see the chats, I have a number of regular viewers that chat. And I occasionally invest in Zennie62 Media. I'm actually got to dole out shares later tonight from the previous 2 evenings, but I digress. Now I'm going to Alex Perez says New England Patriots will be 0-16 for the season. That's a bold prediction. Raider Nation 101 says, don't forget, no one expected the Raiders to go 12-4 last year with Carr out 2 games. Excellent point. And now, John Marks asks, what website, Zennie, do I file a complaint to FAA? What John Marks is asking about, which is a momentary aside, is, and I'll make this real quick to get back to the subject of the game, is a complaint regarding Las Vegas and the siting of the proposed NFL stadium so close to the airport. The Airline Pilots Association issued a complaint. John Marks, you have to actually write a letter to the FAA in Washington and issue it there. And I will send you an email offline with that address, okay? Now I'll go back to the topic at hand. Let's see here. We've got Rick Rice says Patriots will win the next 8 in a row. They just need a wake-up call. Well, let's and then John Mark says thank you, Zennie. You're very welcome. Let's go back and check that. As far as, first of all, let's check on the outcome of these injuries that were reported and see if there's any updates here. Oh, thank you, Mr. Venegas, for your investment. Thank you. I'll give you double shares. Thank you. In fact, tonight, folks, in celebration of the Down Goes Pats, double shares for anyone investing at any level tonight. Double shares. That's right. We're celebrating. Down Goes Pats. So there you go. So there you are. Any level of investment, you get double shares. It's a double shares night. So what we have as far as now, NFL.com, we've got, we have the, okay, Chiefs safety Eric Berry suffers potential Achilles tendon tear. Kansas City will know more about 3-time All-Pro injury Friday, and I will get the NFL media will get the update Friday. Now, here's Kansas City's Alex Smith to the podium. Hold on a second.
Good times, yeah, bad times. This is definitely one of the former for you. How long can you kind of let this one, soak a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I think opening days in general.
He was 28 of 35, 268 yards, 4 touchdowns.
Anticipation that sometimes you forget that it's just 1-16, right? And I think you have to be able to handle defeat as well as victory. I think the right way, and I think each can be.
I'm proud of Alex Smith. He said that it's just one game of 16. You have to handle defeat as well as victory pretty much the same way. I was there when Alex Smith was drafted by the 49ers out of Utah. That was my first NFL draft I have ever covered as media. Always a respectable young man and a very nice person. And then I ran into him with his girlfriend at Westfield Village Shopping Center. This was about 10 years ago, well, when he was with the 49ers, and really roundly criticized. But I just told him to keep his head up, and there are people like myself behind him. Alex Smith is one of those people where you want to see him get a Super Bowl trophy just for all that he's endured. For example, being drafted number 1 and then not doing well with the 49ers, not being appropriately coached with the 49ers by, I have to say it, a rather green offensive coordinator in Mike McCarthy at the time, who really grew up as a coach over that period of time. And then going to Kansas City Chiefs, finding a permanent home there as the starting quarterback, and now having the game of his life. This was the game of his life to this point. I mean, the other game of his life will be if he gets to the Super Bowl, that contest. And that could be this year if this organization's big victory is any indication of the future. So just something else. Now, trying to find out more about this injury report for you all, and what to watch and what to look out for from that. I've got the news and scores here, but what I don't have, okay, I've got the final of the game, which you know the score of course, 42-27. And team leaders, you know the team leaders in terms of the quarterbacks. And the NFL showing different highlights, which I will not show for copyright reasons because the system is very sensitive in terms of catching copyrights, okay? So I'm not going to display the visual highlights, video highlights. I'm sorry, I just cannot do that because it'll cost me. And now, in terms of rushing, we know that Kareem Hunt was 17 of 148, 1 touchdown. West, 1 attempt, 21 yards, touchdown. Overall, however, the Chiefs, as a team, they had 26 first downs, 8 by rushing, 17 by passing, 1 by penalty. They had 65 total plays versus 74 for the Patriots. And they had 8.3. Get this. They had 8.3 average yards every time they touched the ball versus 5 yards for the Patriots. And the big news of the day, the Patriots were held to just 3.5 yards rushing average. 3.5 yards. That's it. That's it. By contrast, the Chiefs, 6.9 yards. All right, that's it. Game right there. Defense. You can control the ball on defense. You can control what the opposition does in their rushing attack, making it hard for them to grind out and maintain ball control, which wasn't the case in the first half. You're doing something. And I remember texting the boss saying, hey, look, the Chiefs defense is getting control. And that was like midway through the third quarter. So John Mark says 263 fantasy points play for Kareem Hunt. So yeah. So definitely 263 points. And so, hey folks, would really appreciate investments. I hate to be Monty Hall, but again, the kind of work that I've done can't be done as often, without the investments that you all provided. However, for those of you who are feeling maybe that your well is tapped out, bring in other investors and help grow the flock of investors. Because when you spread the word about the channel, you're helping the channel's wealth grow, and I might add the value of your own shares, okay? So you are as much a part of this as I am, and you help it grow. So now Karen Christian says, is it me, or does Brady seem to hold on to the ball a lot longer than most quarterbacks? Hey, that is a great entry to something that I want to talk about. And that's something that I referred to earlier, Karen, but I want to double down on it from a different perspective, okay? And that's this. The Patriots, I'm going to their the New England Patriots depth chart because I want to demonstrate by way of discussion what I mean about what their game plan was today from the perspective of the passing game, okay? And now I'm going to New England Patriots depth chart 2017, and what I'm looking for, thanks to ourlads.com, as it's called, Our Lads, Our Lads, is the depth chart for the wide receiver position. So we have Brandon Cooks, number 14, and then Chris Hogan as his backup, and then, of course, Matthew Slater. Brandon Cooks runs a 4.340, and the game plan was to get the ball deep to Cooks out of shotgun. And so Brady would take the shotgun snap and drop back 5 steps. He was already 5 yards back, but he would take 5 quick steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then launch the deep ball to Cooks. That happened on 3 occasions, connecting on, I believe, 2 in the first half. 1 in the first half, 1 in the second half. And when he wasn't doing that, they were trying to get the ball to Hogan on deep routes as well. But the Patriots' objective was to quite literally bludgeon the Chiefs' defense with these deep passing shots. But in order to make that work, you have to have time to throw. And so you're right. Brady was taking deep drops, generally from the spread formation, with in the days of Tom Landry and the Dallas Cowboys were called the shotgun formation, which actually in terms of design and nomenclature goes back to Red Hickey when he was the 49ers coach during the early 60s, or occasionally on play action. But you're absolutely right, Miss Christensen. They were really trying to throw the ball deep. And that has gotten, that what happened is not only were they throwing the ball deep, they were using no huddle. The overall approach was to, as the late Kansas City Chiefs head coach Hank Stram would say, quickly matriculate the ball down the field for a touchdown. And in so doing, however, they used little time on the clock. In fact, that reminds me of wanting to check the time of possession for the game. And because the time of possession will really tell what we're talking about. There's touchdowns, fumbles, field goals, red zone efficiency, time of possession. And in fact, yeah, here it is. Time of possession, 30 minutes and 14 seconds versus 29 minutes and 46 seconds for the Patriots. And that it's greater for the Chiefs, but frankly speaking, not as much as I thought. However, that reflects the degree to which the Patriots were controlling the ball and possessing the ball in the first half, but then the Kansas City Chiefs, when their defense changed strategy, then took control of the game in the second half. So there you go. The Chiefs eked it out. The Patriots ran off more plays. Again, 74 offensive plays for the Patriots, 65 offensive plays for the Chiefs. So yeah, there you go. Now, we've got Joseph Binsman says, well, he usually has the time to hold the ball a lot, but not everyone can be 2007 Giants or 2011 Giants hot. Something else, too, and that's an interesting point, Mr. Binsman, that the players are only human. And so after a while, what happens? They get tired. And with fatigue comes, and not fatigue and also strategy adjustments, come positions in the game where you'll have a player not being able to hold their block as long, but at the same time, the quarterback needs to get the ball downfield more, as the Patriots were intending to do. I'm really curious to know why the Patriots didn't switch on their short passing game again. For some particular reason, overall, the Patriots seem Jack Bull determined not to be that Bill Walsh-style offensive team that they were in the past. Why that is, I don't know. I'd love to have an interview or a conversation with New England Patriots head coach Bill Belichick or offensive coordinator Josh McDaniel or quarterback Tom Brady and find out. Of course, the next best thing, since he's a good friend of Tom Brady's, is to ask my friend Mike Silver of the NFL Network. In fact, I think I'll do that. So, I think I'll do that. Now we've got, let's see here. Alex Perez says, it was a desperate attempt to score a return TD with backfire. Joseph Bensman says, do you think that time of possession means they missed moving the change a bit tonight? I think so. They had running back by committee, Joseph. Or as I think one of the commentators put it, I think it was Chris Collinsworth, running back by board. Board as opposed to committee, right? Because reflecting the seemingly large number of running backs that were moving in and out all the time for the Patriots. But it was clearly obvious that the Patriots missed that slam-bam style of LeGarrette Blount, and that would help them move the chains more often. I do agree with that. Now, Rick Rice says Pat should trade Tom Brady for Joe Flacco. And then Rick Rice says his O-line let him down tonight, talking about Tom Brady. Didn't turn the ball up as much though. I don't agree that his offensive line let him down so much as the Pats' structural insistence on throwing deep or mid-range the entire game. Remember, that's exactly the same approach that got them into trouble in the Super Bowl against Atlanta. What got them out of it? A return to the short game. Something we didn't see tonight. So again, why the Patriots insist on this approach is beyond me. But it's costing them. They don't have the horses to make it work at all. Patrick and Blackman says, you close the middle of the field on Brady against those slot receivers and get a good push up the middle since he can't run. And not only that, I could add maybe that Julian Edelman not being there was a big impact, a big problem for them. Welcome to Zennie62, by the way. We're talking Kansas City Chiefs victory over the New England Patriots 45-27 in Thursday Night Football to kick off the NFL season, NFL kickoff game. Love to know your thoughts in the chat. And if you're a first-time visitor, please invest. We get great coverage like this Sunday through Thursday and on Zennie62 on YouTube. And so we've got more thoughts about this going in. And, wow, breaking news from John Marks. Mexico City hit by a 9 and 8 on the Richter scale earthquake. Yeah. Harry Dunn. Hey, Harry, how are you? Welcome. Harry Dunn says, don't be fooled by the Chiefs. The Pats' defense is just horrible. Tired of hearing how Alex Smith is an elite quarterback. So, Harry, if you are scoring this, how do you evaluate it? Should we, as Raiders fans, be concerned about the Chiefs? Or are you saying that this is an aberration and that we should not at all think of the Chiefs as the giants of the AFC West? How, in your view, should we think about this, Harry Dunn? I'm asking. So, Joseph Bensman says, laugh out loud, Smith is not elite, but he did have a great night. He's looked pretty elite tonight to me. Now, talking about the past, okay, fine. Hold on a second. We've got Rob Gronkowski being interviewed here.
I mean, starting with myself, just got to go back, look at the film, see what we did wrong.
Mark Gronkowski says he's upset with himself, beside himself. We got to go back to the film and see what he did wrong. He had 2 receptions for 33 yards.
Just keep grinding. You got to feel that you guys were getting into a rhythm of what you needed.
Yeah, so there you go. Yeah, so that was Gronkowski. Now, Patrick and Blackman says, I don't take the Chiefs lightly. And Harry Dunn says, the Chiefs, answering my question, the Chiefs are a very good team, but it was fool's gold tonight. This is Harry Dunn talking, or chatting, writing in his comments. The 2 long touchdowns were complete blown coverages. They were blown coverages. Well, wait a minute. They weren't blown coverages on Hunt, and because that was more a product of great offensive design. Alex Smith looked to the left, and the way the play was designed, Hunt came out of the backfield and then went on a long circle pattern and more of a banana if you think about it. And then Smith turned around and hit him. He was the 3rd receiver in the progression. What I was most impressed with was that Smith had enough time to throw that, but also it was great design. What I mean by that is this. In the Falcons offense this preseason, Steve Sarkisian had a short pass design such that Matt Ryan was looking to the left, throwing to the left, on what was supposed to be a hitch route, I believe by Julio Jones in the first half. This was against the Cardinals, and that was covered. The Cardinals had played press man. He wasn't open. So they had the tight end coming over the middle to stop, right? But it was man for man. He shouldn't have stopped. He should have kept going. But he was so carefully covered by the linebacker that by the time Smith got back to him, the linebacker was all over. And it was only a 5-yard pass. My point is that elapsed time from here to there, it should have been a deeper throw. by natural elapsed time. In other words, the more time you have, if you're going to have the quarterback look to the backside, have the receiver go deep. That is what the Chiefs did. That is smart time motion study offensive design. Not a blown coverage. Not a blown coverage. There was a receiver, there was safety covering him. But if you look at it, Hunt went outside and then came back inside. That was quite brilliant, all right? So, now, as John Marks reminds us, remember, one game does not a season make. It can, but you know what? That first game can speak volumes for your future. You have to get over it. And Harry Dunn says, I think the Pats are pretty overrated this year considering all the players they lost. And Dunn says that he thinks the Oakland Raiders will be 11-5 and the Chiefs 10-6. And Dunn also says, I think the Raiders, this is Harry Dunn chatting, are very capable of beating them, the Chiefs, and the Chiefs lost Eric very possibly for the season. It certainly looks like that. It really does. Now, and Richard Stewart, welcome Richard, says, yes, the Raiders should be very concerned about the Chiefs. I quite agree. And Karen Christian says, we signed Janikowski for $1 million pay cut. I hope he finally gets a Super Bowl ring. I completely 1,000% concur. And very much concur. And so Patrick and Blackman, hey, Mr. Blackman says, it's just one game. Upsets tend to happen in season openers. Too true, and too true. Now, let's go back to Twitter and see what the talk is, and as well as any updates in terms of who's on top here. If you're just joining us, welcome to Zennie62 Live. We are chatting about this great victory on the part of the Kansas City Chiefs, and welcome to Raider fan country, if you will. And wow, the worldwide trend is #1 trend is #Timbler. And I gotta just mention this because it is not every day that you see. Okay, this was 2 minutes ago. Just started trending with 21,014 tweets, and this is the report is 3 hurricanes are apparently not enough. Mother Earth had to throw in an 8 on the Richter scale earthquake as well in Mexico. And this is earthquake 8.1 on the Richter scale in Mexico. Some states report blackouts. Hope everyone's okay. And this is, wow. And this is along the Pacific Rim. This is Pipijan, Mexico. And trying to get the latest. Mexico City. Trying to get to the more substantive tweets because the tweets here are, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but and get back to it because I can find out more. These tweets don't reveal a lot. All right, now, except that, you know what we know, a large earthquake in Mexico City. Now, oh, by the way, guess who is interested in boxing, who is a UFC champion? Ta-da! Cyborg Justino. Ugh. All right. And I guess he's going to want to coax Floyd Mayweather out of retirement, right? Oh, here we go. For what? Another $300 million? Anyway, worldwide trends. #1, #Timbler. #2, Alex Smith. #3, #Patriots. #4, #Chiefs. #5, Flamingo. #6, Tom Brady. #7, Primera Vesta, excuse me. #Too good at goodbyes. #9, Chappas, and #10, Hunt, in honor of Kareem Hunt. And so that's what we have. Now, getting back to your comments here. Oh, by the way, extra point 606 for the, no surprise there for the Chiefs. 3 of 3 for the Patriots. And we have red zone efficiency. The Chiefs started off 100% red zone efficiency, 3 of 3. The Patriots, get this, 50%. Another key to the game, red zone efficiency. 50% for the Patriots versus 100% for the Chiefs. the Chiefs played, for all practical purposes, in the second half, a perfect game. No question about that. Now, Harry Dunn says, pretty sure that stat is not accurate. Which one, sir? Din Envy says, in the Brady era, the Patriots are 105 to nothing at home when taking a lead into the fourth quarter, yet people still underestimate the Chiefs. Well said, Din. Welcome, and love to have you as an investor on Zennie62 Media as well. And in trying to continue to grow the flock here of the nation here. We're kind of, I think it's 123 in the East Coast, so it's getting a little late. But I'll stop at 1:30. Oh, Harry Dunn says, oh, you're talking about the 150-0? Yeah, I'll check that one, Harry. We'll check that one. Getting back to your other comments. And so we've got, let's see here. Rick Rice says, you guys are getting ahead of yourselves talking about the Raiders. Harry Dunn says the Raiders need to start their first 5 games at least 4-1. And Patrick M. Blackman again reminds us it's just one game. Upsets tend to happen in season openers, as I repeated that he said before, but it's worth repeating. That wisdom out there, okay? Quite worth repeating. And so we've got, let's see here. No PayPal investment tonight, huh? It's, no love from the brethren. Oh, well. That happens. Let's see here. Melvin Lovejoy. Welcome, Melvin. He says, Chiefs have only won 3 playoff games my whole life. They choke and only choke. And I've decided I am not stopping at 1:30. I'm just going to hang out here and talk about this doggone victory. I don't care who stays or goes. I don't care how many people are on it. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to milk this one. I'm loving this. They're showing the highlights, and there goes Hunt into the end zone, and they're talking about, wow. And now that throw to Hills in the first half, yeah, he was wide open. That was a wheel route. That was, I don't believe that was a blown coverage either. I think that was more of a case of great offensive design. This goes back to something you put out there, Harry Dunn, and that is they had the quarterback, Tom Landry used to call it kicking. In other words, the quarterback would come up and have the short zone, play short, but then let the receiver go. And the idea was the safety is supposed to catch him. But, because safety's here, right? But what happens if the safety doesn't, you've got this hole that's exploited, and that's what the Chiefs did when Hills caught that pass. So, Joseph Binsman says, if my G-men, talking about the New York Giants, whoop the Cowboys Sunday, will be a great weekend. Okay, so give me a prediction on the Cowboys. Hey, everybody, welcome to Zennie62. Nice to have you. And we're chatting about the Chiefs. And Raider Kuko, welcome. Says, I was hoping for a Chiefs loss. They beat us twice this year. Look, I got to ask you, Raider Kuko, were you hoping for a Chiefs loss? But aren't you, let me put it this way. I'm glad the Chiefs won because the Raiders now have the bar set for themselves. They can't relax. They know what they're up against. They know that they go into the Titans game in a must-win situation in a battle of supremacy for the AFC West early out. I mean, what better way to start the season, right? What better way to start the season, I think. Now, Hennessy says, Raiders win Super Bowl in 8 exclamation points. I'm not kidding you. John Marks reminds us how he doesn't like the Cowboys. Rick Rice says that's twisted. And, what's twisted? No, even my logic is twisted. Okay, I'll repeat my logic. I think it's brilliant. Of course, that's me. And that's my Leo ego for you. My Leo ego for you, okay? Now, and Joseph Binsman says, laugh out loud, love seeing the Pats lose. And Melvin Lovejoy reminds us, he says, Chiefs have only won 3 playoff games my whole life. They choke and only choke. So let's bronze that conversation. Let's bronze that conversation. And CNN just put up a note that the 8 on the Richter scale was off the coast of Mexico. Wow. That's the Ring of Fire. That means I got to get back to Atlanta and get off the coast. Oh my God. Oh man, when that happens, you start thinking, okay, you know, who's next along the Ring of Fire, right? You know what the Ring of Fire is, right? So, hey everybody, welcome to Zennie62 on YouTube. We're chatting the Chiefs' amazing victory against the New England Patriots. Thank you for the investment, Patrick and Blackman. Thank you very much. It's double shares tonight. Mr. Blackman, you will get double shares. And thank you very much. Now, Melvin Lovejoy says, the question is, how will the Chiefs play with no Eric Berry, and slow linebackers? Except here's the thing. The Chiefs don't have slow linebackers. They were all over the place tonight, especially Justin Houston, the defensive MVP from the last year. Now, Raider Kuko says, when are we holding the first Zennie62 Zensters tailgate party at the Coliseum? That's a great idea. Now, I'll be blunt. I may have to relocate to work, or on temporary. I won't know just yet. I'm being very honest about that. And I received what seems to be an offer. We'll see how it transpires. I don't want to say anything more than that. But as you know, I give everybody a clear picture of what's happening here. And I'm working my tail off to grow this channel and maintain it. But if anything happens, we should have some kind of gathering sooner rather than later. And there's nothing against anyone else, but I need to organize something for what I do rather than piggybacking on any other organization, because it would be fun just to get together with people. So I don't know how many people are local, but the best thing that I should do is plan something for next week. And I'll start getting right on that tonight. So if I'm able to do anything, it'll be by tomorrow. Let's see here. Joseph Binsman says it will be a close game because Elliott's playing this Sunday, talking about the Cowboys playing the Giants, and OBJ. Every time I see OBJ, I know it's basically Odell Beckham Jr., but I always want to say Obenjami. but Odell Beckham Jr. will also play after preseason tweak at his ankle. We always play well in Dallas. I've got my Giants winning, he says, 34-31. And Richard Stewart says, Tennessee is a dangerous team to play. It won't be a cakewalk game at all. And not only will it not be a cakewalk game, I've said this before and I'll say it again. And I said it earlier this week on Monday. The Titans have a powerful incentive because they believe that the Raiders were simply given last year's win because of that non-call in the end zone to end the game. Remember that? The Chiefs have essentially the same main team in terms of starters, particularly on the offensive line, intact. And then, of course, there's quarterback Mariota. So, and then the coaches. So you got to believe that they're talking about in the locker room, hey, we got robbed against the Raiders, and that's our motivation. Welcome to Zennie62. Now we have 21 with us, and we're chatting about the Chiefs' amazing victory against the Patriots and what it spells for the Raiders' future as well as the future of this year's season of the AFC West. And we have Patrick and Blackman says, I see Dallas winning, talking about the Cowboys-Giants game. Barry Lee says, sorry. You don't have to apologize, Barry, you're back. Joseph Binsman says, watch out for my Giants rookie tight end, Ingram. This kid's going to stretch the field. Okay. And we said we have the other conversation. Rick Rice says, should root for the Chiefs to lose. Oh, talking about what I said about the Chiefs. We want to win the AFC West. When it comes down to a tie again, every game counts. Here's why I disagree with your statement. I want the Chiefs to win because, first of all, the Patriots are look, we play the Patriots this year, talking about the Raiders. A number of weaknesses in the Patriots scheme design have been exposed early on. Among them, a great susceptibility to misdirection passing where you look one way and throw the other, something the Raiders have installed in their arsenal this year. All right? And then the Patriots' habit of trying to throw deep and then score quickly. And see, and if you don't do that, you place a great deal of stress on your defense. And so when you do that, you go into the second half with your defense winded. Meanwhile, your opponent has altered their game plan to adjust to what you're doing. They come out in the second half, as the Chiefs did, play man-for-man defense, play closer to the line of scrimmage, play more pressure, blitz more, and the outcome is, well, among other things, the New England Patriots have 3.5 yards average rushing, all right? They are 50% in the end zone as opposed to the 100% for the Chiefs. That spells great defensive adjustments in the second half, but it also is something the New England Patriots created for themselves by putting their defense in constant pressure to stop the Chiefs. The Chiefs had 4 long touchdown drives of over 90 yards in the contest. And as it was pointed out during the game, they never have done that before last year. So they had, long marches down the field fueled by their great wide receiver at the time, Jeremy Maclin. Remember him? But they were able to, the Chiefs, with their brilliantly designed game plan, comfortably march down the field, keep their defense off the field, and then score. Whereas the Patriots were consistently trying to score quick, and then, particularly in the first half, using no huddle when they got beyond the 50-yard line to move the ball downfield even faster. That places pressure on your defense. Your players become winded, and so you put them in trouble come the second half, and that's exactly what happened with the Patriots. Now, so we've got more comments, and we have Karen Christian says, I wonder if more teams will not be able to play to do more due to Irma. Good question. Joseph Binsman says, watch out, I got the England part. And John Mark says, Eli Manning has a new go-to target in England, talking about what is shaping up to be a preview for Sunday night's game. And so we've got now Patrick M. Blackman saying he sees Dallas winning at 34-31. But I've got to agree with Mr. Binsman that the Giants always play well in Texas Stadium. And however, the Cowboys, and I believe if I'm not mistaken, the Cowboys had a rash of early injuries that, in fact, let me check that and see what Dallas Cowboys injuries. Dallas Cowboys injuries. Here, injury report, news. Cowboys injury report, September 4th. Jordan Lewis expected to return to practice. This is according to the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. As of the 4th of September, it's now going into the 8th. So the Dallas Cowboys have dealt with a number of hamstring injuries throughout training camp and preseason, but the team hopes most on the mend. Here's an update on several of them. Cornerback Jordan Lewis, hamstring, is expected to return to practice in some capacity, Jason Garrett said, but appears to be a long shot for game action. Cornerback Chidobe Awuzie, hamstring, it practiced last week and appears as though he will be an option for the game, save for safety Xavier Woods and wide receiver Ryan Switzer. Defensive lineman Tyrone Crawford, ankle problem, has made progress, and the Cowboys are hopeful he will be ready to go Sunday. Offensive lineman Chaz Green, ankle, is expected to return to practice this week and is the leading candidate to start at left guard. So the Cowboys come into the game nicked up. Let's see what the report is for the NY Giants, and we'll get an updated report Friday, okay? And that's the one we're gonna report Friday, and we'll get another report Saturday. Now, Giants injuries. This is as of 10 hours ago. Odell Beckham Jr. again has missed practice. Star wide receiver continues to work on the side. Comes from Big Blue Review. And Odell Beckham Jr. misses practice again on Thursday for the New York Giants as they prepare for their season opener against the Dallas Cowboys Sunday night. And there is some doubt as to whether or not he'll play. And he stretched with the team on Wednesday and worked on the sidelines. And on Thursday, he did the same thing. So they have a video of Beckham running 200 yards. That was September 7th. And so the Giants have indicated that Beckham could play even if he doesn't practice. And he's been seen running but not doing any cutting or jumping. And that's the news right there. Other players on the report are cornerback Eli Apple, ankle. Tavares King, wide receiver, ankle. Cornerback Michael Hunter, concussion protocol. Fullback Shane Smith, quadriceps. And defensive tackle Jay Bromley with the knee. They're all full practice participants. So the Giants come up, with nicks themselves, but with, look, Odell Beckham, if Odell Beckham is questionable, it could be a trap situation. Okay? It could be, I'm just putting this out there, it could be a ruse. It may be that Odell Beckham is in better condition than the Giants want to let on, but they're giving the Cowboys a little false hope there. All right? And that's not something to be underscored. All right? But as Rick Rice points out just now, there's no way that OBJ is missing the game. I agree. And Joseph Binsman says, hopefully Bromley and Apple are ready. They're good contributors. And he also says, I have Brady for his fantasy team. Laugh out loud. This is Joseph Binsman. I really don't think Beckham will miss the game. He's too much of a beast. A beast! Not to want the Cowboys on Sunday night. And Rick Rice says, Derek Carr. John Mark says, I have Aaron Rodgers on my fantasy team. Rick Rice says, yep. Kelsey piling up those shovel passes tonight. And Joseph Binsman says, thanks, man. I think Bennett will open up the field for the Packers and get shots from Rodgers this year on their choices. My viewers, for those of you who can't see the chat stream, are now talking about their fantasy choices. And I have to confess, I haven't steeled myself to join anybody's fantasy league. I mean, I know who I would pick, but a lot of my time is spent basically making media so much that I haven't, and I watch NFL fantasy and listen to the commentators. I watch the statistics, so I am in no way out to lunch when it comes to who to play or who to sit, for example. But in terms of concentrating on investing this team or that team, in fact, let me ask a question: which fantasy groups are you all with? Are you? I thought about DraftKings, but I mean, who are you with? Who are you guys using? And and Karen Christian says, if the NFL doesn't allow gambling, how is fantasy football allowed? Well, Karen, that is an ongoing discussion. And Melvin Lovejoy said I should have made a channel league. Can I still make one? Or Yahoo. So he signed up with Yahoo, Melvin Lovejoy. As Joseph Binsman says, he's a long-time Yahoo player. Rick Rice says that they consider a fantasy football game a skill, not chance. True. And Rick Rice, are you on a fantasy league? And if so, which platform? And which platform are you on? So most people here seem to be on Yahoo. Yahoo. And Raider Nation. Hey, Raider Nation. He says, Raiders need to beat Chiefs twice this year to make a statement. I agree. Barry, good night, Barry. Hey, great to see you again here. And Corvettes. Hey, Corvette, how are you? Corvette's on Yahoo Fantasy. Joseph Binsman says a lot of people don't play. A lot of people don't play for money. Playing like myself, do fantasy football for free. Honestly, it's helped me follow football even closely over the years. Yeah, where do you play it for free? Because DraftKings wants you to pay. And I'd like to, I guess, does Yahoo have you play for free? I think. I'll try that. I'll admit, I know it's not too late to sign up for something, but I just want to just to keep my picks sharp and all that. Ed Reed says Raiders want an extinction. Ronnie, make your move now. You mean not an extinction, Raider Ed Reed? You mean, what do you mean by that? Corvette says he plays Yahoo for free. Hey, here's Andy Reid talking. Hold on a second.
Too hard and the ball popped out, but I'm proud of him for getting right back on it and doing a good job. Our defense, those fourth down stops, I thought.
Can you hear that?
Showed a ton of grit there, and those are very, very tough against this team.
Andy Reid basically said that he was proud of Hunt for rebounding after that fumble in the first half. The defense played extremely well, and that's what he's talking about. He's talking with the press right now.
Bounce down the field where he was beat, and really at the end there played well. Had a nice breakup. The 2 minute at the.
Let's talk about now the 2 minute.
We spent a lot of time working on that. Guys take a lot of pride in that.
He said they spent a lot of time. The Chiefs spent a lot of time in the off season and preseason working on their 2 minute drill, and it showed up in the first half. So Richard Stewart says, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. The Patriots got off lucky. They should have had a Trent Cole appreciation day, and I completely agree with you. And Joseph Bensman adds, almost thought it would be a short night for him, and we would see more West after the fumble. Yeah, and it says a lot for Andy Reid for just sticking with a rookie, which, I didn't think Andy Reid would do. But he left him in there, which is a statement on how Andy Reid is willing to give young talent a chance. Rick Rice says, yeah, I was on DraftKings talking about fantasy football and FanDuel, but they made it illegal over here in Hawaii. Oh, is that right? It makes you turn your location service so that they know if you're in a legal state or not. Play on Yahoo for free. Got it. Karen Christian says, I was just trying to understand because DeBartolo got into trouble with gambling. I'll take that up in a more, it wasn't so much that DeBartolo got in trouble with gambling. What he got in trouble with was more, it was more complicated than gambling, okay? But you're essentially correct. It had to do with ownership, and you know what? Let me go back and research that on all honesty, because I don't want to give you a flip short answer. Your answer deserves a resuscitation of exactly what happened. And since you asked, I don't want to leave you with an incomplete thought. Okay. Mr. Ball was found guilty of a felony, $1 million fine, 2 years of probation, and he was to enter a plea in Louisiana. I believe he pleaded not guilty, and but basically the charge, and I say this in a very pained way, because Eddie DeBartolo was very nice to me as representative to L.E. Harris, the mayor of Oakland. I came to be in contact with Mr. D, as I call him to this day, although I haven't seen him in years, at the behest of Allo Casal, who is the executive assistant to Al Davis, the manager and general partner of the Oakland Raiders, the owner. And Allo Casal came to me as L.E. Harris' economic advisor and asked if I would help behind the scenes in getting the Raiders and the 49ers and the NFL together to reestablish the 49er Raider preseason game. So, to make a long story short, I contacted Eddie DeBartolo, went down there as his guest, and took my intern down, and Steve Mariucci was then the new coach of the 49ers. He just went from Cal, where I'd interviewed him and met him then, and to the 49ers. We were there for the entire day of practice. It was a ton of fun. And Mr. DeBartolo He rolled out the red carpet for us. I can't say enough for how nice Eddie D was to us and to me personally. So I read what I'm about to read, from a perspective of sadness for him, because he's a truly good man to people. And it reads, his head bowed and speaking in a subdued voice, San Francisco 49ers owner Eddie DeBartolo Jr. pled guilty in federal court yesterday to a felony charge of failing to report that Louisiana's former governor allegedly extorted $400,000 from him to win a casino license. So it's more complicated than gambling, all right? Again, he pled guilty in federal court to a felony charge of failing to report that Louisiana's former governor allegedly extorted $400,000 from him. So basically, Karen, this is how it worked. Politically, the former governor of Louisiana extorted money from Eddie DeBartolo, but Eddie didn't want to rat on him. Okay? So Eddie DeBartolo ended up basically taking a hit for being loyal. This isn't an Eddie D trait. He's loyal. For being loyal to a man who basically extorted from him. Now, basically, here's how the rest of it reads. With the plea, DeBartolo avoided prison, but he agreed to pay $1 million in penalties, serve 2 years of probation, and testify in future trials against Governor Edwin Edwards and his son Stephen Edwards, key targets in a federal probe in the state's gambling industry. In testimony leading to DeBartolo's admission, FBI agent Jeffrey Santini described an alleged 2-year courtship in which DeBartolo first resisted but then finally agreed last year to pay Edwards the money in crisp $100 bills to help him win the final riverboat license to be awarded by the state's gaming commission. DeBartolo got the license but later withdrew from the project when he was subpoenaed to testify before a grand jury. Okay? And speaking quietly and cordially, DeBartolo stood before U.S. District Court Judge John Parker and admitted his guilt to the charge formerly known as misprision of a felony, which is basically knowing about a crime and yet not reporting the crime. Okay? So it wasn't as you wrote. Okay? He wasn't actually guilty of gambling. He was guilty of knowing that a crime had been committed and yet not reporting it. Okay? So, and basically, the governor was basically putting DeBartolo in a position where he had to pay him $400,000. In other words, $400,000 for this license. He was extorting him. It's extortion. It's just pay to play. That's called pay to play. That's illegal. But see, DeBartolo didn't turn around and say, hey, this guy's making me pay to play. He felt it was part of, what is it, the license to enter, if you will. That was the idea. So I don't know if you heard that, Karen. Hopefully you did, okay? Now, and John Mark says, can Eddie D make an offer to out Mark Davis? And, yeah. So, Karen, I don't know if you heard that or not. And she said, let's see here. Karen says, thank you for explaining. Wow, would hate to be put in that position. And yeah, I mean, like I say, that comes under the heading of bad things happening to good people. I've been there. But and that's exactly what that was. But I can't say enough for how great Eddie DeBartolo and his family, including Jed York, have been. John York, the stepfather to Jed York, was very nice to me when I was pitching the Super Bowl to Oakland. He and his wife, Denise DeBartolo York. In fact, I was pitching Oakland for the Super Bowl at the Wilson Cocktail Party, and this was November 1st of 1999 in Chicago at the Hyatt Regency O'Hare. And I gave my spiel. Amy Trask walked in a little late. And I said, Oakland is America's shining city on a hill. Its best example of diversity, the best place for the NFL to host the Super Bowl game. That was my pitch. And Ms. DeBartolo York said, Oh, you're so cute. I'm going to put you in my luggage and take you all over the country with me. Ta-da! So anyway, there you go. Then Dr. York, at the same party, invited me to come to the Steelers-Niners game later that month and basically talk about the Super Bowl bid. And it was there that I met Kevin O'Brien, who was the station manager for KTVU in Oakland here at the time. And Kevin said, I will make a Super Bowl video for you. And he did, and it was outstanding. But I digress. So anyway, Karen Chris says, I only knew about his sister getting the team. Well, those are the circumstances that led to that and what happened, okay? So yeah, those are the circumstances that led to that. And that's what happened. Hey, so now Hunt's on. Let's see what he has to say, or hear what he has to say.
Yeah, I just had to be extra cautious tonight.
You're a rookie out of Toledo, and you just helped your team win in a place where no one beats the Patriots here, and no one...
Do you realize that Mr. Hunt, out of Toledo, set an NFL rookie record for yards from scrimmage for his first game? 246 yards. Wow. I mean, there's nowhere to go but down. How do you top that, right? Wow. And he said he didn't play the perfect game. Now, Rick Rice asked what I would look like with dreadlocks. You'll never find out in reality. I love this, okay? I am not going to let it grow out the other way. I'm sorry. This works for me. It's, for one thing, it's easy. And I had hair, and I don't want hair anymore. That's it. And I've looked like this since the day that Jerry Brown tried to fire me, and I said, you can't fire me, I quit. And that day was December 14th of 2000. That day. And I, tears in my eyes, wrote a press release, sent it out to all the newspapers, said I quit, round up on front page of 3 of them. And thank you very much for your investment, Miss Christian. Thank you very much. Double shares tonight, by the way. Thank you. And Rick Rice says, you look good. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Thank you. Nick Z says, should we be worried about how good KC is? Just look to be happy at how vulnerable the Pats are. You're so conflicted. No, it's, to me, those are not separate ideas, Nick. Those are the same ideas. Yes, we should be concerned about the Chiefs. Yes, we should be happy because we have to, play the Patriots. So we know what the Patriots' weaknesses are early on, and if you are forming a book on the Patriots, that you have this platform, and then you can see if they've adjusted as time marches on to the point where the Raiders play the Patriots in Mexico, which really should be here at the Oakland Coliseum. Okay, so now Ricky Smith said, why would Jerry want to fire me? Jerry wanted to fire me because I accused Jerry Brown. This is written up in old news for anybody who's followed my videos over the years, because I've talked about it openly, for accusing him of being racist. And the reason I did so is because I was assigned by then city manager Robert Bobb to work on the Super Bowl, bringing the 2005 Super Bowl to Oakland. At the time, it was 2004 originally. No one gave us a chance, particularly people in Oakland. I would go to work every single day, and there was a guy who worked for Oakland Public Works who said, you're never going to get the Super Bowl here. These are people who worked for the city of Oakland, paid by the Oakland taxpayer, all right? And I had to deal with this on a daily basis. By the 14th day of this sort of thing, I had become fed up, and I yelled in his face that I was going to make him say Super Bowl Oakland. And I kept after him for the next 10 days, and he finally said it, all right? During that time, Jerry Brown refused to meet with me one-on-one. Never. We didn't go to city council. We probably should have, but the council was skeptical. District 3 council member Nancy Nadale was hostile to what I was doing for a set of very personal reasons. And those reasons, and I'll just say them straight out, were that her late husband, the great Oakland activist Chappelle Hayes, Phil Tagami, who later built the Rotunda, and I had developed a friendship from the 1990 Oakland Sharing the Vision event, where we had 500 people come from around the city of Oakland to do this Saturday and Sunday brainstorming. We talked about how the future of Oakland should be shaped. And we set out a series of goals and objectives, all right? That's how I met Libby Schaff's, the mayor's parents. They became my godparents. That's how I met Libby. That's how I met the vast majority of people I've come to know in Oakland to this day. So what happened was that, fast forward to, what happened with Jerry, is that I felt that Jerry, when Jerry came in, he completely disrespected my ability to get the Super Bowl here. He and Jacques Bargaggi essentially milked me for information, right? And then kind of they all but discarded me when Jerry actually became mayor. But prior to being mayor, I talked with Jacques Bargaggi, his right hand, on a every other day basis. Gave him a lot of advice, and which seems to me my epitaph. That's probably been written on my tombstone. He gave a lot of advice to very important people and never got paid for it. That's going to be my epitaph. God, I hope not. But I digress. At any rate, Jerry would meet with even interns. White female interns would walk into his office all the time, and yet on 14th of April, 1999, at 4:21 in the afternoon, he was at what we call the Dalziel building, the administration building, all right, which is across from City Hall, and he said, he and Jacques were talking about something. This is when I was first assigned by Robert Bob to work on the Super Bowl. Actually, this is April 21st. I apologize, not the 14th of 1990. April 21st, 4:21 in the afternoon. And Jerry said, "I don't have time for you." He said it just like that. Now, psychologically, what that means to me is this. Particularly as children and teenagers, we've all been in a position where we were treated like the odd person out, and others look down on us. And in our way, the elites of the high school say, we don't have time for you and all that. That's how Jerry would act toward me. I don't have time for you. And yet here I am working on the most important economic development project in the city of Oakland's history. And I don't care that the city didn't recognize it, because it didn't. It was true. It was the Super Bowl. All of my counterparts did. Larry Alexander, the executive director then of the Detroit Convention and Visitors Bureau, and Bill Talbert, the executive director of the Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau, is still a friend to this day. I saw him last year when Miami won the right to host the Super Bowl in 2020, after Atlanta's in 2019. So, I was up against it. I was up against some hard competition. There was Jacksonville and Heather Service with the Jacksonville Economic Development Corporation then. I remember all this like it happened yesterday. This is a major part of my life, okay? And yet Jerry would never give me the time of day until after October 19th, 2000, and I went to the Joint Powers Authority, Oakland Coliseum Joint Powers Authority, and many of the people who are on the Joint Powers Authority today, including Larry Reed and Gail Steele was representing the county of Alameda. Nate Miley was council member at the time, but I believe Keith Carson was the other representative. At any rate, to make a long story short, from that perspective, they took an action or no action. Larry Reed was the chairperson of the Oakland Alameda County Sports Commission that I started from scratch and got federal approval for in 4 months, when Jane Williams, the city attorney of Oakland, told everybody it's going to take me 2 years to do it. And Dina McClain, who ran the Joint Powers Authority at the time, said Zennie is not going to get federal approval for 2 years. I did it in 4 months. 4 months, okay? So what happened was, when I got up to the JPA and I discovered that they had a meeting with a splinter group of CEOs for a type of sponsorship program idea that I came up with, but they didn't have me in the room to talk about it. They talked about it, not understanding sports sponsorship behind my back. They didn't do me the courtesy of saying, Zennie, would you come in and present your idea? Now, that's very similar to what happened with me and the Raiders 2 years ago when Mark Davis says, hey, come up with a stadium plan idea. So I do, but he doesn't give me the courtesy of saying, okay, hey, come in for a sit down and let's discuss it. Neither did Libby Schaff or the city of Oakland, and Pat Cashman had said, oh, we talked about your idea and it doesn't work. I said, yeah, but you didn't have me in the room to talk about it. Because had me, okay, and I say that because in the case of the sponsorship idea that I came up with, it was like this. Everybody knows the east side of the Coliseum where the luxury boxes are. Well, under my plan, you would have been able as a corporation to spend $30 million and brand that entire side of it with your logo as per NFL and host committee approval, okay? This is how my life works. I got on the plane back from the NFL Super Bowl workshop, and across the aisle, the same aisle in coach that I was in, we now call economy class, was a guy named Mike Lynch. Now, who's Mike Lynch? He was at the time the head of sponsorships, and a person I knew very well of Visa. That's right, a key NFL sponsor, Visa. So Mike was tying his shoe, and I looked over, and I did a double take, and I said, Mike, it's Zennie. And he goes, what are you doing here? I said, I'm getting on the plane. So I ran the idea across to him, and he goes, it's a brilliant idea. And he represents a key NFL sponsor. You see how they screwed me over? All right? And what they don't like to this day is I'm still alive and got my own media company to talk about it. And this is what I was trying to explain to the people going forward to the JPA with respect to their legal request as to what to watch out for. All right? I've been there with this group. And you can have the greatest idea in the world and the greatest approach. But if they don't want it to go through, they'll figure out some kind of way to hurt you. And for reasons that to this day add up to Oakland not being as far along in terms of infrastructure development as it should be. I can talk for hours about that. But what happened was that after they took that action, I wrote an email to my board, the Oakland County Sports Commission. And, you know, it's the rule. I've said it before. There's some emails that you write and you don't send. And that was one of them. But I was livid. I didn't have any help. I didn't have a mentor that was really watching out for me. I thought it was Larry Reed. It wasn't. Yeah, Larry got me the job with Elihu, but at the end of the day, Larry was not watching out for me. Robert Bob was basically fighting a single person battle with only me as, you know, the ally, because both he and I believe that Oakland should be hosting Super Bowls and going after big events. Robert Bob thought big on the behalf of Oakland and wound up rightfully working for the city of Washington, the city and the county and District of Columbia as, you know, city administrator, okay? And brought the Nationals, brought the Expos to Washington and became the Washington Nationals. He built that stadium. But I digress. My point is that I sent this email. I accused Jerry Brown. I didn't say he was just out and out racist. What I said was I was very pointed. I said Jerry was not comfortable with anyone who was young, African American, and intelligent, and aggressively intelligent. In other words, willing to express what he knows in the same style that someone white would do. Okay, we've seen it all the time. Someone who's young and white, who's smart, and that person's allowed to express themselves. Well, at that point, less so now, but at that point, although it's still with us, but at that point, you know, I was told a number of times, you have three problems: you're young, gifted, and black. And there were black folks who told me that in Oakland. Okay, so you know, someone said that between white people who thought that someone white should be doing what you're doing, and black folks who are jealous, you were between a rock and a hard place. I got it all. And to this day, I can write a great book and movie about what I experienced. All right? And so what happened was, and we went to the NFL owners meeting. Prior to that, and I've told this story before, in May of that year, May 10th, we were invited to the NFL headquarters on 245 Park. Now it's moved up the street a bit, to give our presentation. Jerry showed up 10 minutes late, left with an hour on the clock, completely pissed off Commissioner Paul Tagliabue, but he never stopped talking about it. Scott McKibben saved us. He was then the A&G newspaper publisher. I've got his name right here for those of you who haven't seen this but remember seeing it, it's right here. Scott McKibben, A&G newspaper, okay? This is my sports commission board, all right? All right? And, okay? So, so anyway, Phil Tagami took that email that I wrote, took it to Jerry, and then next thing I know, I get a call from Jerry that says, hey, I want to meet with you. I'm like, yay, right? So we meet, we talk about, the first time we met on the Super Bowl in almost the 2 years I'm working on it, all right? And then he turns around and says, well, how are we going to deal with Al Davis because we had a lawsuit going? We talked about that. We talked strategy finally after me trying to get, a conversation with him that should have happened the year before and didn't. This was late 2000. Remember, April 21st of 1999, he's telling me, hey, I don't have time for you. Suddenly he has time for me. Among other things, my effort for the Super Bowl was getting the city of Oakland positive press. In fact, Ignacio de la Fuente, then council member and chairman of the JPA at the time, told me it was the only positive press the Coliseum was getting. All right? So I was making all the politicians look great. Look fantastic. So what happened? We went to our presentation, which I can talk about at length, I won't, but Jerry Brown gave one of the best speeches I've ever heard a politician give my entire life. Got a standing ovation from the NFL owners in the room. And we were 8 votes short of winning after all that stuff. So when I came back, Robert Bob said, you did a great job, take some time off. I came back, I found out I couldn't even cash in my vacation pay because Jerry had told Robert to let me go. Robert couldn't talk to me directly because he was so hurt. So he had Monica Lambo, who hadn't talked to his assistant, hadn't talked to in years, literally, call me. And I said, Monica, why am I talking to you with all due respect? Well, I actually didn't say all due respect. I was pissed. I said, why are you calling me? It should be Robert. So I called Robert. I called him. And Robert said, yeah, Packer stuff. And I said, you don't have to do that. I quit. So that's when I wrote the press release. And I looked in the mirror and I said, why did I do that? And at the time I had hair and glasses. So off came the glasses. I got contact lenses. I wanted to see what my face looked like because I had, mustache and all that. And I shaved my hair down and then eventually went to, it was a little nub and then just let it go bald. I started running and I ran my first marathon a year later. And that was that. Okay? That's what happened. It was the classic case of what happens. They always say as a black person, go out and get your education. And then if you get your education, do a great job, you're rewarded. I got to tell you, folks, that's not always true. Okay? It is just not. So, Karen, that is what happened. There you go. Okay? So there you go. You asked, I told you. Whew. All right. Now, oh, by the way, if someone, thinks it's the first time I've told that story on video, it's not. It's not. Welcome to my world, okay? Welcome to my world. All right. So, let's see here. So there's your answer. Now, back to the conversation. Miguel says, the Patriots defense is worse this year. What do I think? I think the Patriots defense is slower against the Chiefs. And the Chiefs are exemplary of a number of teams that have that level of speed this year. Receivers that can run 4.3 and 4.2 40s, like John Ross with the Bengals, for example, who's injured this first game. Or you take Deshaun Jackson with the Bucks. Or you take, well, there are a number of examples of players who are super fast on offense. Now, if the game plan properly takes advantage of their capabilities, as the Chiefs did, it's going to be a long year for the Patriots. It really is. Now, how the Patriots overcome that is, if I were the Patriots, I would consider really tightening up that three-man front inside and going to more of a bear look to stop the inside run, and so that at least they have narrowed down their options in terms of having to stop the run and forcing plays to the outside. But it's difficult when you have to both defend the edge rush, but you're also having trouble stopping the up the gut runs, and then of course you're leaving yourself susceptible to play action. So that the Patriots have to say, okay, what are we going to stop? Let's stop that first, as opposed to trying to do everything. And my impression of the Patriots is they always set up defenses that try to do everything so that they're not too caught red-handed if they haven't correctly diagnosed the play that's going to be ran. You understand what I'm saying? And I think they need to get away from that and be a bit more specialized in the defense that they design. Now, the Patriots purists would say, Zennie, you don't know what you're talking about because they have defenses they especially designed for every opponent. Yeah, they do. But what I'm talking about is not a particular formation or grouping of personnel, but I'm talking about changing your philosophy, literally changing your philosophy on the fly and saying, we're not going to, for example, two-gap. The Patriots two-gap. And it's clear, as I've said before, I've never been a fan of two-gapping. It's clear that two-gapping was one of the approaches that did not serve them well this game. But then I also go back to this. The defense, the Patriots defense, was not helped by the offense's greedy game plan. Let's get as many yards as we can per play and let's score quickly. So it's the defense, already beleaguered to try to figure out the Chiefs' rather complicated game plan, says, oh, you know what? Oh my God, we got to go back out there and deal with this again? Thanks, offense. Okay, so there you go. All right. Now, thank you. Miguel says, very well said. Thank you. And Karen Chris says, I wish we had Tyreek Hill. Patriots should have covered him better. And Joseph Benson says, good for you, Zennie, standing up for yourself. And John Mark says, great knowledge. Hey, thanks. Yeah, thanks, Joseph. That was, like I said, that was, by the way I talk about it, was a traumatic experience to this day. Because I've been to now 9 Super Bowls. And I will always, I think I'm finally getting over it, but the idea of what if will never leave my mind. What if we won? And then not only that, something else. Bill Claggett was the Director of Economic Development for the City of Oakland at that time. He had a budget request of $80,000 for the sports commission I created from scratch. And I didn't know that. No one told me. You see, that's what I'm getting at. You know, I didn't know. And so I assumed that I was out there by myself, and rightly so, because I had, for example, when we had to have, I had no staff working for me. I had one intern I couldn't trust, who just, I don't know, to this day, what was on her mind other than just being ridiculous and just a drama queen. Just, you know, there's some people who just don't want you to be successful. And I'm going to say this even more bluntly. There's some African Americans who do not like it when other African Americans are successful. And they will do things to actually sabotage them. And why that is, I think, is another long discussion. But it's something that I certainly have experienced. And I have never, ever done that. I've always been a person who believes that you focus on helping people. But also, if you have a group of African Americans working together professionally, you stick together. And because the world out there is tough, as we found out with what Michael Bennett is going through. But to this day, you have people who are much younger than I am who are not comfortable, who are black, but not comfortable being around other black people. This is what I'm talking about. When Jack Del Rio was hired as head coach of the Oakland Raiders, there was a press conference, and I covered the press conference. Afterward, I've told the story before, but it's worth repeating. There was a group of us African-American members of the media standing, talking, and one of the fellows whose name I would never repeat even if I didn't remember it, said, oh, this is weird. And I said, what? He goes, this. And I said, what? And he goes, this. I said, look, I am really not following what you're talking about. I'm sorry, I'm just being honest. What do you mean? He goes, all of us black folks standing together. And I said, you know what? Do not ever say that again. Don't ever think that. ever. Ever. Okay? But it's that kind of mentality that goes back to, born of slavery that is still with us today. Okay? So, my point is that we stop ourselves from achieving success that comes to others because they're not afraid to group with others, and I've talked about this before, and build things. Okay? Now, from a standpoint of interracial pairing, that's natural. You find like-minded people to come together. And I'm proud to say that, having explained to you what I've done, there are more people today coming together and building great apps and great companies who are people of color and white, teamed together, and, male and female than ever before. And that gives me hope for a brighter future. It really does. All right. Now, let's see here. Let's see here. John Mark says you should write the book, Zennie. You're right. I should. It's in there, John. It really is. And I wrote my memoirs when I was about to turn 40, and I kind of let them go. So, memoirs of a black man at 40. And I thought, why does it have to be memoirs of a black man? How come I can't just write, memoirs at 40, right? I think it's now time for memoirs of Zennie62. But Rick Rice says, how do you think Cordell Patterson stacks up next to John Ross or Deshaun Jackson or Tyreek Hill? Does he have that kind of speed? Yeah, he has that playing speed, but on paper, that's an outstanding question. In fact, let's check that. Cordell Patterson, let's see what his 40 time. Cordell Patterson 40-yard dash. Cordell Patterson 40-yard dash is let's see here. Okay, combine player profiles. Cordell Patterson of the Tennessee Volunteers, and his grade was, 4.42 seconds. So he has a 37-inch vertical jumper. His grade at the combine was 90.6, and this was his overview. The road to Tennessee was not very glamorous for Cordell Patterson, pronounced Cordell Patterson. After a solid 2008 high school season that put him on college teams' radars, Patterson did not play football in 2009 while at North Carolina Tech. In 2010, Patterson enrolled in Hutchinson Community College in Kansas, where he broke numerous school records and became the top-ranked junior college product in the nation. And after choosing Tennessee, Patterson was expected to line up as the school's third receiver, but after fellow junior Derek Rogers was dismissed from the team, the South Carolina native burst into the scene immediately by beating North Carolina State cornerback David Arneson multiple times during the 2012 opener. From there, Patterson continued to make play after play. So there you go. But the bottom line is his speed then was about 4.42. So 4.42, he's fast. Okay, if you're under 4.5, you're doing something. Now is he 4.3 or 4.2? No, but 4.5 is doing something, and that's on a par with Amari Cooper. So you have Patterson and Cooper, who are blazingly fast right there, blazingly fast. And let's see here. Rick Rice says he's super fast, but he's a bigger dude, so I can't see him being as fast as the others. I don't know about that, Rick Rice, because if you're fast, but you're large, all you have to do is take bigger strides. Because I used to practice this in high school, taking bigger strides to run faster, which means you really have to work on your hamstrings. You can do it. It takes some work. You can do it. So let's see what Patterson does. I'm not saying that he did that. I don't know. But I know that in practice he looked pretty good when I saw him the times. Emil Scott says, prayers for the residents of Mexico. They just got hit with an 8.1, what John Marks was reporting as an 8.2 earthquake. Wow. Wow. And Joseph Bensman says, that's the kind of thing Trump's brought out to the woodwork this year, unfortunately, talking about race. And let's see here. Corey Brown asked if I ever had a curl back in the day. No. I did slick back my hair during the Gordon Gecko days, because I would just, like, Gecko had the slick back hair, so I tried the black version of that. I gotta be honest, I did. It was slick back like that. Yeah, it's like slick back, And I had the double shirt, and that was when I was in undergraduate school. Undergraduate school that was before, let's see, Wall Street came out. Yeah, that was before, around that time, I think I started wearing my hair a little short when I started dating Lauren. Because, I looked better, and I started looking more professional. Those were the days. Anyway. But as far as Zinsters wanting to see that, I don't recall having a picture of that. Anyway. John Mark says Patterson and Cooper remind him of Cliff Branch and Freddie Biletnikoff. And you know what? Speaking of Fred Biletnikoff, how about a shout out to Cal head coach Justin Wilcox for bringing back the sideline throw to football. I thought the sideline pass died. But here it is. Cal's used it for first down against none other than North Carolina on way to a big win on the East Coast. Wow. So Vic Rice says, but we still lose because our defense allows 45 points a game. Neri says, I'm sorry I got here late, but do you talk about the Raiders and Titans matchup? I did not this time, but I did before, and I will do so again. In fact, let's see what the line is on that game. I'm glad you brought that up. Let me see here real quick. Oh, by the way, for those of you who are able, again, it's still double shares evening. Please, your investment is more than welcome. Now, my prayers to Mexico as well. In fact, a moment of silence for those who are suffered as victims in the Mexico earthquake. All right, thank you. Wow. And not far from Houston, if you think about it. So, that area suffering a lot. Area of the world is suffering a lot. It's not good time at all. Now, getting back to your point about the Titans matchup. Let's see what the line on the game is. Raiders, Titans, latest line, 2017. All right. Odds analysis betting. This is 1 day ago. And let's see here. Oakland Raiders versus Tennessee Titans. Scrolling down. The Titans open up as a 1-point favorite at home. And the total was 53 earlier in the week. And so let's see here. This game is pitched as two teams, battling for AFC supremacy. And there is a thought that the Raiders can cover the spread. Oakland was a very good road team a year ago, going 6-2 both straight up and against the spread. In fact, the Raiders won their first 5 games last season, including a 17-10 victory at Tennessee as a 2-point chalk in Week 3. Oakland's defense was the difference in that meeting. We know all that, okay? And so we know it's Derek Carr versus Marcus Mariota. And I'm going to check and see. We know about the Raiders NFL draft picks going in. Andy Vanderdoos is starting as a rookie. And however, the Tennessee Titans bring in a draft that I think can be discussed as quite interesting because they have, among other things, Jonathan Allen and Malik Hooker. Now, Jonathan Allen is the Alabama rookie defensive tackle, and let's see what his status is going into the game. And let's see here. We've got we know about the music to ears and all that. Let's see here. But Jonathan Allen winds up going to the Redskins. Sorry about that. That was bad. It was thought that the Titans were going to get him. That's my mistake. Excuse me, folks. Let me go back here. And that's what I get for jumping the gun late at night. But that happens. Jonathan Allen was a great pickup for the Redskins. Fantastic. Now, let's see here. Corey Davis of Western Michigan was the... How could I forget? Oh boy, here's one of these speed demons. Stupid Zennie. How easily we forget Corey Davis. Corey Davis has a hamstring injury. He says he's a 90% likely to play on Sunday. He's ready for his NFL debut. He's eager to prove himself. Corey Davis is basically missed. I think he missed the entire preseason. Is that right? And he did. He missed the entire I was right. He missed the entire preseason with his hamstring injury. So, and he says he's at 90%. So, great. We don't get him at full speed. Yay! I think that's something that the Raiders have to worry about. You've got Corey Davis and Eric Decker. So they've got two hot new weapons. I did that considering Davis's injury, right? Two hot new weapons. And as Mike Mularkey said in the Monday presser, that they're being very coy on how they're going to employ Corey Davis. Okay? He said that. So that's the big X factor. Corey Davis is the big X factor going into that contest. Will they line him up as slot? Will they line him up as running back and have him, catch his passes out of the backfield as is the new thing today in the NFL? Well, like Ty Montgomery from Stanford, now with the Green Bay Packers, was doing that last year and I believe the year before. We don't know what they're going to do with Corey Davis. So if I were the Raiders, I'd play man for man, and I'd make sure I'd bring in Conley and say, sick him. Because Conley has the speed to basically keep Davis at bay. That's what I'd do. Okay? So, and Titans coach Mike Mularkey said Davis got more reps on Wednesday's practice than he had in all of training camp. But he said he won't push him too hard on Sunday. You don't want the guy to fail. You don't want to put a guy in position ever to do that. Mularkey said, I don't think we're doing that. We're going to be smart with him. We're not going to expose him to things he can't be successful at. Healthy, not healthy. That's just the way we are with our players. And free agent acquisition, Eric Decker is also just coming back from injury. So the new look Titans receiving core I'm reading here, this says it's not completely healthy yet, but they're getting there. So, it's common to go into a game with some, as I say, nicks and cuts. Miguel93 says, yeah, we got to pass on them. That's their weakness. And Rick Rice says, if it's a Raiders game, Carr is always going to have to win it for us. Rick Rice says, we don't even know what Conley looks like yet. And, I'm willing to take a chance and throw him in a very specific assignment, Rick. It's not a position where he's expected to do a lot of things. I mean a very specific assignment. Just have him eat enough, all right? And John Mark says, isn't our pass defense Swiss cheese? But remember something, John, that the pass defense's problem was born of a weak pass rush. So there were signs, particularly in the last game, that the technique issues we talked about were the problems, were a thing of the past. And so if the pass rush with Khalil Mack in, don't forget, is better overall, and that's the key, better overall, then it helps the defensive backfield. So, again, the key is the pass rush. And I really would blitz from a number of very uncommon positions. I would throw the kitchen sink at the Titans. Because with this group of new receivers, when I hear group of new receivers, what that spells to me is all new approach. So you can't go into this game saying the Titans are going to use what they did last year because they didn't have the same weapons. I believe the Titans will go play action and throw deep more often this game than they did the last. So, Miguel says, very true, Zennie. Thank you. Karen Christian says, is Mariota good? I have not paid attention to him. I personally believe Mariota's, I call him a China doll. And what I mean by that is he gets injured very quickly, and he's also prone to turn the ball over. So he's also coming off of an injury himself, shoulder. So this is going to be a big test for him. It's going to be a big test for how well he can take hits when, as they say, live bullets are coming at him. That means players trying to, hit him. So that's how he responds is not just the wild card, but how the Titans design their game plan with respect to his injury is the other consideration. I do not expect them to put him in a position where he's not running the ball. If I'm the Raiders, I'm preparing for bootlegs. I'm preparing for the read option. And that's why I'm blitzing my corner. That's why I'm occasionally blitzing my safety. And that's why I'm using a zone blitz system. And that's why I'm using AA gap blitzes on occasion. I'm trying to pressure and confuse the Titans into Mariota making a mistake and being afraid to want to run the ball. That's my game plan. I don't know what the Raiders are going to do, but that's my formula for beating the Titans because I believe that's what the Titans are going to do. All right. And as Miguel93 points out, Mariota does turn the ball over a lot. In fact, let's check something on that with respect to Mariota. And by the way, it's double shares night still, folks. Invest, always welcome. Now, let's check that. It's 234 in the East. So hold on a second. Now, what I am checking is Marcus Mariota. What I'm looking for is to see new stats. There we are. Stats, okay? Let's see here. Marcus Mariota, Tennessee Titans, born October 30th, 1993 in Honolulu, Hawaii, age 23. 2016 regular season, he was 61% of his passes completed, 9 interceptions, 26 touchdowns, 9 fumbles. Quarterback rating of 95.6. For his career, he has 45 touchdowns, 19 interceptions, 19 fumbles. His quarterback rating is 93.8. All right. He threw last year for 3,426 yards. His average per completion was 7.6. His longest game was 60 yards. So there you go. And in terms of the game log, he is complete the season for that season. Wow. Let's look at the complete stats here. Because Mariota started out 2016 and 2016 regular season, I believe he got injured. He played 15 games played. He played 12 games in 2015 season. 2016 he played 15 games. No, wait. Excuse me. 2016, yeah, he played, that's right. He played 15 games. But I know he had injury problems. So playing their games he was probably listed to play, he didn't participate. So that's not, let me try this here. Marcus Mariota, because he injured his leg. Marcus Mariota, that was it. Marcus Mariota injured his leg the same Sunday that Derek Carr injured his last year. Okay? So, and that was later in the year. Let me see, Marcus Mariota injuries. Marcus Mariota injury history and analysis. This is according to Sports Injury Predictor. Oh boy, take a look at this. This is worth looking at, folks. This is Mariota's history, okay? This is Marcus Mariota. Here's his body injury. Okay, number 1, his shoulder, his was that your Achilles tendon, and number 2, right? Okay. So 2017 chance of injury is 38.9%. Chance of injury per game 3%. That was 2017. Projected games missed for 2017 is 1.3. His durability ranking is 5. Now, what that means, I do not know. Let's click on it. It says ability to produce despite minor injuries, 5 being most durable. So they say he's quite durable. All right. Now, his injury history down here. Oh, the website is called sportsinjurypredictor.com player Marcus Mariota. That's what that is. All right. Now, if we go down here, we've got, okay, here we go. Started off January 12th of 2015. I'll get the one on the car in a moment. It says non-NFL, shoulder ACL joint sprain. Then NFL, October 18th, knee MCL sprain, grade 2. And then December 20th, again, knee MCL sprain, grade 2. He tore his right MCL in week 15 and missed the final 2 games. Then 2016, leg fibula fracture. In week 16, he suffered a broken fibula against the Jags, ending his season and later on requiring him to have surgery done. Okay? So, there you go. And then there was leg fibula, but what I don't get was they have this one. All right? That's not the fibula. Right there. That's shoulder AC joint sprain. That's the January one. Okay, there we go. All right. So, yeah. So, January, and then this is the most recent one. That was the leg fibula fracture. And his knee twice. That was the year before. Okay, so now Derek Carr. Let's take this out here and then type in D-E-R-K space C-A-R-R, return, and here we go. This is Derek Carr, and Derek Carr's got, wow, 1 here, 3, he's got his share 2, and it says that there's Mr. Carr right there, and Rick Rice asks, does his bit finger count? Well, that may very well be it. Let's do there we go. Hand finger dislocation, November 25th, 2016. September 13th, 2015, hand wrist bruise. May 19th, 2015, hand finger sprain, full unspecified. And then here, August 16th, that's a head cranial concussion grade 1. That was August 16th of 2014. And then chest rib bruise, the same game. Jeez Louise. Then here we've got September 14th, knee MCL sprain grade 2. And then leg fibula fracture on the same day that Marcus Mariota had exactly the same injury. So there you are. Now we scroll down here. Chance of injury here is 52.2%. Chance of injury per game, 4.5%. Projected games missed for 2017, 2.1 games. Durability, 10. All right? Ability to produce relatively minor injuries, 5 being most durable. I don't know what that means. If 5 is the most durable, then 10 is less durable? That would have to be the case. So, there you go. Derek Carr is projected to miss 2 games due to injury this NFL season. Hence, E.J. Manuel. Hence the hiring EJ Manuel as the backup quarterback. There you go. There you go. So, Rick Rice says, that's why I don't like season-long fantasy, and Miguel 92 says, that's kind of high. Karen Christian says, I thought he injured his hand twice a week apart. I'll check on that. Now, Rick Rice says, yep, that's it against the Panthers. Henry Flores says, that hand injury was in his throwing hand. Yeah. Yeah, it had the map, had the wrong hand. Well, or they might be thinking, well, okay, it was the right hand. From our point of view, it was on the right, but when you look at the body, it actually implies it's the left, right? So, Miguel says he shouldn't count the bruises. And so anyway, there you go. And so there you go, all right? Phew, folks, it's 11:42, 2:42 in the East, venturing on 3 o'clock. I'm going to stop in about 8 minutes or so. Appreciate more investors there. If anybody, would. So anyway, Miguel says, I don't know if I agree with that. Agree with, specify, please. Henry Flores says, Zennie in, okay, in. And for those of you who are watching this, I'm reading the chat comments on the side. You can't see them on the screen. If you watch this later as video on demand, that's what's happening. My viewers are writing down their comments. For example, Rick Rice is writing now, yeah, the finger dislocation against the Panthers was on his throwing hand. Correct. Karen Christensen is writing, his stiff arm injury under center. Rick Rice says, that's why he had to put on the black glove. John Mark says, Zennie strong. Thank you. Miguel says, with the probability of him getting more injured than Mariota by double. Right. That's it. Because Mariota's not expected to miss more than a game. And Carr is expected to miss 2 games. I don't count. What, 0.1 counts for what? A tenth of a game. A tenth of a game. So he sits out part of the first. He sits out basically the first third of the first quarter of the game, and then he comes back, right? So yeah. So there you go. All right. Fun night. 19 watching now. Hey, we're from 14 and 19. Welcome to Zennie62. We're talking now the preview for the Titans hosting the Oakland Raiders on Sunday. The New England Patriots lost in resoundingly historically bad fashion to the AFC West challengers to the Raiders, the Kansas City Chiefs, who looked tonight or last night like world beaters. Now, John Marks says, what were the odds that Carr and Mariota are going to wind up on the same injury last season? Yeah, that's odd. And Ufako says, I have no idea what this person has written. So, I'm not going to pay attention to that. Now, we have Nick Z says, I got Raiders winning versus Titans final score 27-14. And I am, you know what? I am going to express hope in the Raiders defense, and I'm going to predict a different outcome. I was skittish because of the Titans and their changes, but the Raiders have a new offensive design because they have a new offensive coordinator. Basically, the same guy was offensive coach, but now he's in charge, and the offense is dramatically different in terms of approach. I am going to say the Raiders 30 and the Titans 27 in another close contest. Rick Rice has it 38-35 Raiders, and Joseph Binsman says have an X factor for the Raiders game, Zennie. Yeah, Corey Davis is my X factor, the wide receiver from the Ohio State. Is it Corey Davis from Ohio State, I believe, who is with the Tennessee Titans? Is my is my X factor. He is my X factor because he's coming off a hamstring injury. He was the 5th pick in the first round, and the 5th pick in the first round going to the Titans, and he was, Western Michigan, not Ohio State, Western Michigan, and this fellow, 6'3", he runs, trying to get his 40 time here as a reminder in terms of prospects, and he they altered the statistics here. They really did. So I'm going to do something here, 40, like that, and I will get he was not timed the 40-yard dash at the combine. However, they say he might be the NFL. SB Nation called him the best receiver in the draft. Oh, here we go. His 40 time, 4.38 low. That was his best time. His average was 4.48. So he is Cordell Patterson speed. All right, Cordell Patterson, Amari Cooper speed. Look out for Corey Davis, because again, Tennessee Titans head coach Mike Mularkey was very tight-lipped about what he was going to have Davis do. But judging by the way he's responded to questions about how Davis is going to be employed, I tend to think it's going to be something special, and therefore, Davis is my X factor. The degree to which Corey Davis is rendered a non-factor in the contest, along with the Titans' running game, will equal a victory for the Raiders. There it is. So there's the X factors. The ability of the Raiders to control the Titans' running game, thereby forcing Mariota to throw, which I say, interception! 2 interceptions, okay? If the Raiders can do that. And then keeping Corey Davis, their shiny new object, under control. There you go. So, yeah. All right, folks, it's 11:49, and there's 18 of you watching. Thank you very much for, watching. Boy, everybody likes these late night live streams. This is cool. To keep this in mind. I really do. Again, it's double or nothing. And those of you who've invested, now it's up to 20. Oh, the minute, it never fails. The minute I say, okay, I'm done for the night, then all of a sudden the visitors kick up. Welcome to Zennie62. We're talking the recap of Thursday night football, and then of course preview the Raiders game in the NFL in general. And I say, even if you can invest, $2, it's double. All right, Rick Rice, you are the man. And as John Marks says, you can bet your last money. Thank you. Oh, Henry Flores asks, is the HBO show Ballers accurately depicting the difficulty of the Raiders? Now, Henry Flores is talking about the Raiders' efforts in Las Vegas, and he asks, is the HBO show Ballers accurately depicting the difficulty of the Raiders actually facing? I haven't seen Ballers, so I'll have to go by what you're telling me, but it sounds like they are, all right? It sounds like they are. All right, folks, I'm not out of gas. I really could go another 2 hours, but I know, a 24/7 Zenny-thon, but it's better if someone invests. It's kind of like, I wonder if I did that one day. If I had a 24-hour Zenny-thon, I just went like Sunday, for football Sunday, I just went all day long on live stream. All day long on live stream. I wonder if what that would be like. Karen Chris says, thank you to everyone standing up for me. Hey, thank you. Hey, Karen, you're welcome. You're very welcome. You're very welcome, Karen. And Rick Rice says, you should take callers. Hey, that's a good idea. We talked about that. In fact, here's what I'll do, okay? I'll do that for Saturday night. For Saturday evening, I'll have, because I usually don't do some live streams on Saturday. I've done it before. But I will set up a call-in. but I want only investors. I don't want to have a call-in for anybody that I don't know. And the reason is I don't have any way of blurting or blocking someone that is going to be, out of order. I mean, I can do it, but there's no delay. So they would have to say something. Once they say something, it's already out on video. I'm like, oh, and the something could be ridiculous. I don't care what it is. I just don't want it. I'd rather have room for the Zensters. I'd rather have room for the people who actually have put money into Zennie62 Media. I think that's fair, don't you? Right? Thank you. So, good idea. All right, folks. I'll start working on that, but I got to get some rest. And John Mark says he can block. I'll work on it. All right. And Bobo says, Pats laid down, Cowboys go to Super Bowl. Karen Christian says you should interview a Raider. Hey, Karen, I have reached out, and I'm still working on it. I tried Bill Wamowski. I haven't heard back from him. But you know what, though? I have interviewed Raiders. Remember, at the at the Raider training camp, I interviewed a number of Raiders, Ted Qualick, Ray Chester. So, you're right. But you're right. In fact, you just gave me an idea. All right. Good night, everybody. Good night, all. And, good night, all. And, wow. Okay, thanks for the, hey, thanks, Joseph. Thanks for the tip. I'll keep that in mind. And those of you going out, hey, like I said, a little investment goes a long way. Thank you all so very much for all that you do, and I'll have the shares. I'm behind on getting the shares out. I will have them out tonight and tomorrow. All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. And for those of you just joining, I will be back Saturday night at 9 o'clock. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you. See ya.